Hey everybody, and thanks for watching Woodcrest Bonsai. Today I'm going to do sort of an emergency repot on this protulacaria Jade. I featured this tree in another video that you can watch right here, and it was one of the only protulacaria that I've ever seen that produced a heavy surface root that pushed right out of the pot and was circling. So in that video I removed that root and repotted it, but now it has fallen over like crazy. I mean, I really want it to be like that, and it has just fallen over like crazy. And as you can see here, this is just not acceptable. I can put my finger right through here. So we have the old roots here, and then we have a very thin layer of new roots, but it's all separated away. So it's just a matter of just basically starting over. And I'm going to wire this guy into the pot. So see, if we go like that, it really is a really nice tree. And since I've got it like this, if we look here, we see there's a lot of really nice growth, that red. So it's very healthy, but that growth of course all needs to come off. So while I've got it, just holding it in the position that I want, I'm going to give it a trimming. And this branch is wired, and I think I can keep that wired. So even though the roots are almost exposed, it's still growing quite nicely. Protulacaria are one of those plants that you can literally take a cutting, say ½ an inch across, lay it on the bench, and a month later it'll still be alive. It might be all shriveled and withered, but you can put it into some soil and carefully begin to water it, and it will live and it will root. So they're very, very tough plants. Probably one of the most forgiving bonsai. Look at that thing. It's just crazy. So I'm going to totally repot it. That's why I have the tray. So we're going to take it out of here, and I'm also going to lift up the camera and give us a different angle. So lift the camera up and then bring it down like that. Okay. I'm going to try to get rid of all the little cuttings that I just cut. So I'm going to take it out of the pot. And I like the pot. I'm going to keep the same pot. This is just a mass-produced, I believe, Japanese pot. Yep, it says it right there. Can you read that? Made in Japan. Well, it doesn't say made in, but Japan right there. But like most mass-produced pots, it doesn't have wire holes. A lot of times when you get handmade pots from people that are also into bonsai, they have wire holes where you can put the wire that you're going to secure the tree with through those holes. In this process, you're going to need to put the wire through the drain holes. So I'm no longer going to be able to use window screen. As you can see here, it's got a couple of pieces of window screen that were over the drain holes, but that's ending right now. And I can use this old soil, it's not that big of a deal. So now let's take this guy and, oh, there's another little funky piece I want to take off. That little adventitious bud right there. We can just pop him off. Remember, I always like my trunk to be clear all the way to the first main branch. No little growth shooting out there. So I'm going to root prune it again. And even though today is the 1st of November, because I live in zone 10 in the US, it's still quite warm. We're getting highs still in the mid-80s here. Alright, so that looks pretty good. It's got some very nice moss. Okay, now I need to prepare the pot. I'm going to take those old roots and get them out of there. So I'm going to use macrame screen. I think this is macrame screen. And I usually want the screen to be just slightly bigger than the hole. So I've already cut, obviously, this corner. And I usually like to make it fairly square. And I'm going to need two. You cut that a little bit more. Okay, so now we have our two pieces that are going to go over the drain hole. I've already got my wire cut. And basically just make a staple with the wire like this. Try to flatten the top part out as best I can. And then when I'm putting it into the holes, I want the holes that are the closest to the edge of the drain hole, the holes in the macrame screen. So I'm going to put it right there and right there. And then push it down. And then you turn the pot over and you just tighten it up by just bending the wires over like that. And normally I would do the wire like this, but I need these holes available for this long wire that I'm going to put through here to wire the tree down into the pot. So then we have the next step, same thing with the other drain hole. Use the holes in the macrame screen that are closest to the edge of the drain hole and then tighten it down like that. Then obviously you want a piece of wire that's long enough to twist down. I'm going to be twisting it down, and it also has to be small enough to be able to go through the holes in the macrame screen. So you can't use really heavy thick wire because it just won't fit through the holes in the macrame screen. So here's the large piece of wire that I'm going to now do the same thing. I'm going to put this wire in the holes that are the closest to the edge of the drain hole and pull it tight like that. And then I'm going to open it up a little bit. Now I'm going to try to angle it like that too, so that when I tie the roots down, it won't be way out here, it'll be closer to the trunk of the tree. Okay, now, like I said, I can use this old soil. It's not that old. And if I wasn't going to use any of this, I would still save it, let it dry, and then re-sift it to get like all the little roots out. Because bonsai soil is basically rocks and they never degrade, so we're going to use a little old soil in the bottom. Then I'm going to place the tree. I'm going to try to get these wires up through the root ball a little bit. Get the tree down into the pot as best I can. And then I think I'll spin it this way. And this piece of wire is quite long, probably overkill. But then I'm going to begin twisting it down. And I don't like to do this because you have the same possibility of this wire cutting into the root. You see there's a root right below where I'm twisting it down. And normally you can do it with your hands. You may need a pair of pliers, depending on. Now see, now already it's in the place I want. So I think that's good. I don't think I'm going to need pliers. It really is holding quite nicely. And then I've got my new soil right here. And once again, the reason I use a tray is that any soil that falls out of the pot, I can collect it with the tray. Let's turn it around so I can get to this side. And I may end up covering some of the moss, but it will re-emerge in no time. And once again, ports are just so forgiving. So, one of my very favorite trees to grow is bonsai. Alright, that looks pretty good. Now one thing that I try to do when I add fresh soil is I still try to leave a lip so that when you water, you're not flushing soil out of the pot. Alright, so let's get the new soil out of the way, and then let's drop this baby down again and follow it like that. Okay, that looks pretty good. I'm happy with that. And sometimes wires get bent when you're doing something like that. I really like the movement of this tree. It's just really got a beautiful sweep and the way the branches move, so I really like this tree a lot. And I think now it's going to behave a lot better. It will not fall over the way it has been. And once again, you can go watch that other video of this tree with that huge circling root. I'm just giving it another little trimming. So there, that looks pretty good. Now, when it comes to wiring the roots like this, I now need to watch this just like I need to watch wire on a branch so it doesn't cut in to the bark of a branch when you're wiring a branch, or the root itself when you're wiring the roots, because root scars on a bonsai can be just as visually distracting as wire scars on the branch. So I think mission accomplished. Looks pretty good. So thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe and hit the notification bell, and you'll be able to continue to watch this guy develop, because I think over the years this guy is going to really produce a really nice tree. It's already just got that, what would you call it, the infrastructure to be just really, really nice tree. So I'm real happy with the progress of this tree. And now that it's rooted into the pot the way it ought to be, I think I'm going to enjoy it even more. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.